Okay, thank you for talking to me, Savannah. Obviously I'm doing a project for my class about happiness, and we're just trying to see the correlation between happiness and spirituality. I chose you because I thought you'd be a great person to interview for this topic, honestly. Um, your answers can't be right or wrong. They're just like your opinion on these things, and we're just hoping to learn some stuff about happiness and spirituality. So, for starters, how would you personally define happiness? Like, not what makes you happy personally, but just like the word happiness. Like, how would you define it personally?
I think that it's like a feeling you get from the things that you enjoy and the things that you find peace from.
Okay. Um, how would you personally define spirituality?
Um, I feel like it's something that you like to follow, like in your heart, and something that you are passionate about and that you can get from other things.
Right. Um, how is how would you say being spiritual would lead to a longer, happier life?
Um, I think that since like spirituality is something that you're passionate about and it's something that like you can get you can get something out of it that will bring you like answers and like it can
Right.
help you throughout your life and that can bring you happiness and
Yeah.
peace,
It is
joy.
kind of a broad topic because spirituality can also be kind of thought of as like religion.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on like the differences between spirituality and religion? Do you have any
Well,
thoughts?
I feel like religion is kind of you're more like worshiping something and maybe there can be a difference because you might be like using something else as like your spirituality that will guide you.
Yeah, that's not like a god or a deity or something. It can be something like um,
Right.
it's like meditation or praying, even if it's not to a god. Yeah.
Right.
Um, so do you think that spirituality has some sort of correlation and relationship to happiness just in daily life?
I think it does, because I feel like it's definitely a big part of people's lives, and most people, I feel like, go towards spirituality to find happiness.
Right. So obviously you're my sister and we have, gone through life together. How do you think that your views on spirituality, like honestly, how do you think that your views on spirituality have changed over time to now? You're what, 17 years old?
16.
16?
Right. Well, I feel like I didn't really have that much spirituality when I was younger. Kind of was just like going throughout my days. And then my type of like spirit is like religion, obviously.
Right, yeah.
It's kinda like something that I can turn to, I guess. So that's kind of how it's changed. It's like I have something else that I can be and do.
Has there been any like conflicts or like events in your life that have changed these views? Is there anything you could think of, like an anecdote?
Well, I feel like just in general, like, there's things that, like personally, like, my spirituality, I feel like there's things that you don't understand whenever you look toward, like, Christianity and that type of stuff, like,
Yeah.
bad things that happen, I feel like that kinda changes my mindset sometimes, but
What
I
do you mean
guess
by
it's
that? Like, what do you mean bad things?
like when someone for example, like if someone gets into a car crash, sometimes
Right.
it might be like a hard thing for someone to go through, especially if there's injuries or just not being able to have a car. It might be like, "Oh, why did that happen?" And maybe this it just like you feel like you have no answers. So,
So you turn to like a spiritual side of yourself.
right, yeah.
Nice. So do you think that there's any benefits to being spiritual that are kind of not necessarily being happy, like You think of like, can you think of anything that being spiritual could benefit your life other than being happy?
Mm, I feel like there could be certain things like I don't know. It can help you like solve some problem that you have that doesn't really make you happy.
Right.
But
It
I
might
feel
not
like
be on the same like spiritual level, but you can still use spirituality. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, right.
Nice. Are there any like particular spiritual practices that you partake in yourself?
Well, since I'm like I go to church, that
Hmm.
type of thing, I pray and I don't know. I read my Bible because that's just a part of like
And
our
do you think that those actions have led you to a happier, like more fulfilling life?
yeah, I would say so. I think they bring you answers, I would say.
They bring you answers.
Yeah.
I like that answer. Um, is there anything you feel like we haven't touched on the idea of spirituality or religion? I mean, I know that you're kind of like you're on a religious track now. Like, is there
Yeah.
anything you feel like you could bring to the table that has to do with religion and happiness or spirituality and happiness? Because I feel like the way you've been talking, it kind of sounds like you have they're kind of synonyms for you, spirituality and religion.
Yeah. I feel like you've covered a lot of it in this, but I'd probably just say that there is definitely a good correlation between the 2,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's not only happiness that it'll bring you, but it can bring you peace. I know I said that before, but I definitely think that that's
No, it
like
makes sense. You're just elaborating.
yeah.
All right. Just a final quick few questions. As a young person, do you think that this generation has had any sort of effect on spirituality, like the levels of spirituality and happiness compared to like past generations?
I feel like with this generation, there's definitely more, like, opportunities maybe. There's
Right.
definitely more a widened, like, spread of types of spirituality that you can get into. Maybe,
Interesting.
like, in the past, like, it's kinda like I don't know the word for it, maybe, like, idealistic, but it kind of was just, like, religion or, like, some people like to do, like, meditate or whatever.
Yeah.
That type of thing, but I think that, like, now, like, people can touch into, like, a bunch of different types of things that could be considered spirituality.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this interview. It'll be very beneficial for my project. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.